Awkward moment when you're looking forward to the next host uploading and then you remember that it's your day to upload. So hey guys, so this is my first like official. Oh my god! Every time I film, I swear my cat comes here. But this is my first like talkative, concepty type of video. So that's pretty awesome. I was thinking of like a long list of things to talk about for this first video, um, but I didn't really know how to jump into it. I didn't know what concept I wanted to go with. So today I'm going to be discussing my nasallang because if you look it up, there are literally 0 videos on nasallangs, and it's really weird. So I want to talk about them because I went into the piercing completely blind. I had no idea what to expect or the healing or anything about it, so I want to make a video on it. So plus Fabian's last video was on septum piercings, so I think it would just be appropriate. So yeah. My nasallang is completely healed from what I can gather. It's only been about a month, but it's not crusting. It's not sore, so I'm just taking it as it's healed. So I guess I'm just gonna talk about my experience with it. My nasallang is a piercing I've known about for a while. I never really considered getting one because I never really liked the look of them, to be honest. On other people, I just wasn't really into it. And they always sat on the back of my mind because of how unique they are. They are very rare piercing. They're more rare than tongue splitting and implants and stuff like that. Just because it's a piercing that most people don't want to go through, and most people who are willing to go through that type of pain usually aren't in the mindset of, hey, I want to get pierced. So the nasallang is incredibly rare because it kind of takes a special kind of person to want to get it done. But it always sat on the back of my mind of, hey, it's a pretty cool piercing. I've always wanted double nostrils, but I have a rather crooked nose. I don't know if you guys can see, but I have like 3 major problems with my nose. I have a deviated septum. This nostril raises higher in the sculpt of it than this one does. Like you can kind of see the defining lines right there. And this one's also less defined than that one. So right off the bat, that made the whole piercing experience much more difficult because the dotting process was about like 20 minutes long, just with us outlining the curvature of this nostril to get it straight, and it was just a whole big pain. I wanted it right above the divot of the nostril, so yeah, like it's structurally completely straight, but proportionally to my face it's not, just because my nose is very crooked. But yeah, so one reason I did get a nasallang is kind of because I thought if I had a messed up nose, why not at least get a piercing that I can at least say might be fucked up, but it's at least a pretty cool modification. So yeah, but yeah, like I said, I never really considered getting it done. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing, a lot like my flats and my conches. It was something I just said one day, hey, why not I set up an appointment? It was originally scheduled for like 2 months, but like I was just like, I really want to get this done if I'm gonna get it done. So I scheduled it like, I think it was like 3 days. I told Gabrielle, I was like, I want to get this done in 2 months. She's like, oh, that sounds cool. Then like 2 days later, I'm like, hey Gabrielle, I'm getting it done in 2 more days. So yeah, it was kind of a very spur of the moment piercing. The whole experience was pretty awkward with the whole clamping and stuff like that. Because my nose is crooked, he had to hold down this nostril in order to get it straight, the dots. And because, if you guys don't know, how you're supposed to clamp a area is you're supposed to make sure that the dots line up in the middle of the clamp on both sides. And because my nostrils are fucked up, he had to like pull this nostril down in order for the dots to line up perfectly, which was not very comfortable. On a pain scale, the piercing was probably about a 9. It was pretty bad. You'd think it would be a very localized pain, like a sting, but it's actually just like this pressure that goes all through the bone of your nose, or the cartilage. A lot of people consider it bone, but your entire nose is cartilage, so it's just easier to reference it as bone if you're talking to somebody who's not equipped in the medical field or in the biology of the body, or the anatomy of the body. Yeah, it's very early, so I'm gonna make some mistakes, so bear with me. But yeah, the pain was pretty intense. Like, you can't really tell where the needle is as it's passing through, just because like your whole entire nose is just lit up. My eyes didn't water, which was surprising. I have a video if you guys want to check it out. It'll be in the description of me getting it done. But my eyes didn't water. They were very wet. Like, my eyeballs themselves were very wet. And it was like burning my eyes from like the salt of my tears that were just stuck in my eyes. And like I was like squinting a lot, which you can see in the video, just because my eyes were throbbing from the salt being like burned into my retinas. So that wasn't fun. It didn't bleed either. It was the first time the artist had ever done a nasallang piercing. So he did put a towel over my nose, but surprisingly I didn't bleed at all. Like, you can see it in the video, he puts a towel over my nose just to make sure it doesn't bleed, but it really didn't. Your cartilage does bleed. Cartilage doesn't typically bleed, but like this part of your nose can bleed if you scratch it. Like, you keep scratching that in part of your nose, it is very like tender, so it can start bleeding. But like, it didn't really bleed that much. Like, I could kind of tell that there wasn't much blood accumulating in that area. Like, when I cleaned it with like a cotton swab, you couldn't really tell, just because the entire cotton swab was just like engulfed in blood. But like, you can kind of tell just by feeling it that it's not mostly generated in the center of your nose. It's mostly your nostrils that are bleeding. It wasn't very uncomfortable afterward. Like, you do feel the bar, because it is a very like, it's almost, well, for me it was almost adjusting my nose, because it is very crooked, my nose. So my nose was kind of like adjusting itself because of the jewelry. By the way, I was pierced at a 12 gauge, and then the jewelry was then inserted at a 14 gauge. And that's basically it. The healing process is pretty much the same as a nostril piercing. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty much the same. I just use a Q-tip with Bactine and just clean the inside and the outside of my nose. I've been using tea tree oil on my nostril just because I got a keloid on this side, which is almost gone, probably within another day or two. And that's basically it. So that's my whole nasallang experience. I hope I covered everything. It's rather early, so but yeah, that's pretty much it. Love you guys. Bye.